Perfect. Let's
Take your time. Take your time.
Thank you.
No rush.
Oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. I watched it like 3 different times because I was trying to catch different elements to what you did. So, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm so excited. I wanted to ask you, so I read up on the film, I read up on, all the press fun stuff that they give us. And I know that you had mentioned in there that this was something fun for you because it was a new element. It was something that you haven't really done before. You haven't had to deal with futuristic space and, a war happening. So when you hear something like that, although it's fun, were you scared? Like, how do you enter that kind of realm and go, I could manage all of this as the director?
Right. Well, I definitely, I feel like so much of what we do is like adrenaline fueled a little bit. Like it's just like there needs to be, I like that there's a challenge, and there's something that's just a little bit of a world or a playground that I haven't quite worked in before, because that just makes me want to kind of rise to the occasion. You know what I mean? Like, okay, now I've got to really buckle down and like read and watch and think through every little thing. So it's kind of, it inspires me, I think, a little bit of that fear, to just kind of like bring every tool that I have to bear, and so that was exciting for me. But it was interesting because then I did think, because I've gotten, scripts or whatnot that are maybe in that genre, but it's just for me what I'm like, okay, well, what I know I can bring to it is this like this realism, like the authenticity where it feels real, that it feels like it's character driven, which I think that's something I love and something that I like. I hope to continue to do films that are like, all about characters doing what they do because they're who they are, not because like the film needs them to do a certain thing, the plot needs them to do a certain thing. So that's cross-cutting, across all my films. So yeah, so this one, I think fear and excitement are like really live really close together in my world, in my soul. And so yeah, I just kind of went for it.
Which is exactly how I felt watching it. It was like fear and excitement. I was like, what's going on?
Right.
You did such a great job too, because a lot of times with these films in particular, it's usually all men that are trapped. Sorry, I had my do not disturb on. It's usually all men that are, kind of trapped in these scenarios. I love that there was women. I love that there were strong women, and I love that for the most part they were the most rational given the circumstances that they were put in. What was it like kind of creating those characters and working out the logistics, because you're in one location primarily, give or take, you're in one location and you're dealing with a lack of trust between characters in a very small space with nowhere else to turn to other than each other?
That's exactly right. I mean, I think that what that said to me, and why that's really one of the main elements that got me excited about the story. And that is that, like, like how do we humanize each other? How, when we are, presented with these crazy circumstances, and asked to do the unthinkable. Like, can I completely walk in your shoes? Can I completely feel what you're feeling? And like, or does my success necessitate somebody else's demise? Like, does that, it depend, like me being happy depends on someone else being unhappy. Like, that is an infrastructure that's kind of horrific, right? It's just, and it's absurd. It's not true, but it is so much about how the infrastructure of the world is kind of set out for us. Like, that really is, how nationalism works and how fear works and how conflict and geopolitical conflict works. And so just to be stripping it down to this bare, these 6 people, to its really essence, and like, okay, well, these 6 people, how do they act in this situation? These people are like living together, like they need to like trust each other. You know, I mean, this is like, it's so, so easy to get hurt or die in these crazy, dire scientific circumstances, like being on the ISS. And so like, you're relying on these people, right, for your life. And then to be told, you know, that you need to now think about everything in a different way, and you need to only look after yourself. Like, to me, that's just, it's the root of kind of all demise and all evil. And really just, you know, do we become small as a species and become smaller and smaller when we kind of stay that course? So for me, that was the challenge of this, and the exciting thing was to just really like, you know, provide a petri dish of what I think is like happening across the world oftentimes, and see if you can, you know, sit on the edge of your seat and ask yourself the tough questions, you know, about how we do life, you know.
And it's so funny you should say that, because I was going to ask you, because it's such a nuclear group of people stuck in such a small space, and because they're from different countries and different backgrounds and all of that kind of stuff, was it to be used as an almost like a comparison, that these people that all came up here to do good and all work together, instead of communicating, if they just communicated, things might have gone, you know, differently, without trying to give anything away. Had they just communicated, things might have went a different way, but they didn't. And so is that kind of trying to reflect this world right now, and how we're not communicating, and we get so divided and miscommunication, and then you're just, you know, falling into a bubble of chaos that was unnecessary?
Totally. I think that's exactly right. Like, is it like a mirror, you know, and a bit of a, like a giant metaphor for so much of what's happening, not only across the nation, you know, but across the world, you know, with conflicts and everything. Yeah. Communication. Exactly. You know, being told to not be completely transparent, right? Because the premise is that, like, if you're transparent, you're vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, someone's going to attack you, you know, and someone's going to come at your Achilles. And like, just like that is how so much of the world works, you know? And the problem with that, obviously, is at the moment that someone, like, I start to distrust someone, I make myself less trustworthy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I make that person, now I've just given that person room to be like, wow, well, if you don't trust me, you're gonna try to, you know, strategize, right? In your head, right? And so if you're strategizing in your head, I better strategize in my head now. And so it's just like, we start coming apart at the seams, you know, we start just grinding each other down. And so, yeah, like, if we were to just see each other, it's just like, gosh, it's very likely that all my wants and needs are really similar to yours, you know? And that if we both just sort of say, this is really what I want, this is actually what scares me the most, can you just not do that thing? You know, they would be like, copy you, like, this is what scares me the most, you know? So yes, is it, you know, one giant euphemism for that? I think it kind of is.
Yeah. And again, without giving anything away, and I could cut this part out, but the ending, I just have to mention to you, I just thought, I'll cut this part out. I just thought that it was so fantastic, because it was the two people that were the most doubtful of all the chaos, and that were the ones questioning the most, that kind of made it out, you know, somewhere. So I thought it was such a smart decision. You did such a good job with it. It was so good.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.
I just loved it so much. And I was like, that was so genius, that it was like the two that were willing to hear people and maybe question what other people were thinking. And so I love that. But I'll cut that part out, but I just had to tell you because it was so good.
Nice.
What was it like with the cast, working with them? And also, how do you deal with something where it's in space like this, because they're floating and moving around? And you did such a good job, because just like you said in the very beginning, I like started to forget and felt like I was, and especially when you did the shots where it looks like it's from the camera, that like the cameras that are on board. So I started like forgetting and feeling like I was watching like a documentary of something horrible that had happened to this group. So what was it like working with the cast? And then how do you kind of manage this space station, ISS, and make it so that they are floating and look like real, astronauts and doctors and things like that.
Yeah, no, I think that's so glad you picked up on that. So it was, first of all, in terms of them and the sort of zero gravity of it, they were so profoundly uncomfortable for like 3 months. Like they were like contraptions that we had that were actually quite comfortable, that the stunt team put together, that were like kind of like seesaws and whatever, so like someone could just be lying down quite comfortably, and then we could like paint that out later. And those were comfortable. They just didn't look like zero gravity. When we finally saw them and I would see them play back, I'd be like, oh no, I feel so bad, but we're just gonna have to put you in these tethers because it looks more real. And of course the cast, they're such pros, are like, we have to make the best film, we have to make it look real. So they were just in crazy discomfort, like just like hanging from a gantry with these crazy tethers on for hours on end. And so anyway, so there was a little toughness that came with that, and really just like studying what the movements look like. And you don't move more slowly in zero gravity, right? Everybody thinks you're kind of in slow motion or whatever, but you're just more fluid, and that's what ends up looking more slow. So there was a lot of studying that we all sort of did to be able to make this look as realistic as possible. And yeah, the cast, I mean, they're just 6 pros. There's just like no other way to say, they're like, they were ready for character, which was my most, I guess, important kind of whatever threshold that I was holding myself to, was that like, this wouldn't be like plug and play kind of like thriller, genre character acting. Like it wasn't just gonna like where like someone says a line and it's the most perfect line, and it's just like feels like they've waited their whole lives to say it. Like I wanted it to be messy and human, and I wanted people to feel real and feel vulnerable, and like show their cracks. And these are all actors who, even if they've been asked to do the other thing, which like Pilou, Asbeck, like who plays Alexei, like he's been asked to do some of these much broader, huge blockbuster kind of films, and he's the villain, and he's the villain because he looks like it, and like just the white mohawk and the whole nine, and it's super cool and big. But it's like with this, I was like, I wanted him to strip it all down. He was so excited for that, to be just small and vulnerable and sad and scared and all these things. So like they were all sort of up to the challenge, and just kind of went at it. And I mean, it's still my favorite part of the movie is their performances. So and so yeah, so like that, I think working with these 6 specific people is what gave me great joy. It makes me want to watch it again and again.
I loved it so much. As I said, I have time for one more question. Oh no, I have so many.
You can keep going. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't make the rules. I'm like,
she's like, keep going, it's fine.
Right, I got this.
I guess I'll ask you 2 quick questions then really quickly. What was it like working? I mean, like you have, like you just mentioned, a stellar cast. I mean, so what was it like with Chris Messina? I mean, who has such a great, role in this film in terms of kind of leading the group, and then things happen without trying to give anything away. And then Ariana DeBose. I mean, like, could you get like bigger people? And then obviously the rest of the cast are all fantastic and all been amazing things. But what was it like working with those 2 in particular? Because so much rides on them, especially in the beginning of the film. And then I guess my second question, so I don't get in trouble, would be, what are you hoping everybody sees, or emotionally connects to it when they see it at Tribeca and or other festivals, in the theater, hopefully, how they feel when they walk out of it?
Yeah, amazing. Well, yes. So okay, so Chris Messina, I've loved that actor for so long. I feel that way about like John Gallagher. I feel like I'd never seen Masha's work before, but I'm like, she had me so blown away by every choice she would make. Like all these folks have such deep, like emotional reservoirs to be able to tap into. Even Costa Ronin, I mean, he's just like, he was in The Americans, and he's just like the Russian guy, and here he's just like just feeling things, and thinking things, and you just know that he comes from a place of duty, not from a place of anything nefarious. Like, it's just sort of, all these folks are so multifaceted. Chris, I just love him in everything he's in. Every time I watch him, he is usually my favorite part about what that thing is, but also I feel like he's so, I always believe him. Like, I'm always in for whatever he's doing within his character. I'm always down for it because I always believe him. There's not a false moment out of that guy. Same with Sean Gallagher, like, there's just like never a moment where you're like, oh, I don't believe it. So having Chris sort of be the commander too, because he can be self-deprecating. So for me, it was like anti-hero kind of, he's not just like, I am a commander, he jokes about stuff. He's, I don't know, like, there's something about that humanness
it
that I was just
so well.
so well,
Yeah.
so well.
I know. Chris is so perfect. Damn him.
He's just so perfect. He's so perfect. And then and Ari is just like, just my heart. I mean, she was one of the first people. She was like the first person I cast. And the casting director had shown me, her, and said, here's her resume, whatever, do you want to meet with her? Met with her. And I immediately was like, I pretty much know this is it. Like, I know this is it. There's something about her. Then she read for it and was like, she's so good. She's so like eminently watchable. She feels things and you see exactly what she's feeling. She feels things on 85 different levels too. She has so much nuance to those. And this was before West Side Story. Anybody had seen it, hadn't come out yet. So it was just like this, like, how do I have this unicorn in this little movie? You know what I mean? Like, what's happening? Like, how has no one discovered? Okay, everybody had discovered her. She was just absolutely on this crazy trajectory we did not know about. And she was just present. Also physicality, I have to say about all of them, just like the physicality of being able to move and being able to understand your body in these scenarios. Like, each one of them could do that as well. So that was like another kind of amazing thing that they brought to bear. So that was amazing. And then in terms of your other question here, I feel like what I want people to take away from, I mean, I think, look, it's kind of some of the stuff I was saying before. It's like, if if we are thinking about, and it sounds woo woo and it sounds like we've all heard it before, but like it's just like the interconnectedness is definitely the takeaway. Like, how connected we are, how like every decision that someone else up there is going to make is going to affect everybody else. And like, you can, you will go so much further if you buoy one another, if you save one another, if you protect one another, and come at that, come at everything that you do with that in mind. There are going to be other unforeseen circumstances, but can you maintain your humanity? Can you, as I said before, can you continue to walk in each other's shoes and imagine that we're all really actually quite similar? And if that's the case, and we think about all our conflicts with other people with that lens, through that lens, then how can we make some strides? Can we make some strides, and can we not kind of get small, right? Which is, I think, what distrust and zero-sum game makes us small, and small, and it is in my opinion, that's when humanity marches down a pretty dark road, when we continue to act like that. So if we can do better in that way, or just think about things better, think about how we can do life a little bit better, then I'll be happy. This movie, any other movie, any book, anybody, any piece of art that can make you do that, I truly do believe we could, affect change.
Well, I want to thank you so much because I loved it so much. It's so good. There's so many things going on. There's so many messages I feel like within it. There's so much to think about. And I think most people are going to watch it and then reflect on themselves, which is what I did. And then I rewatched it and was like, oh, I didn't catch that, or I didn't catch that. And, you know, with John and like just everybody that was in it did such a great job. You helming it and directing it and putting it all together. I don't know how you did it, but it was so good and it came out so amazing. And I just want to congratulate you because I'm sure it's no small feat at all to make a movie like this. And you did it, and it was entertaining, it was thrilling, it was nerve-wracking, and it looked perfect. I mean, there was just nothing I could say that I didn't love about it. So I just want to thank you so much for talking with me. I was so excited to talk to you because it was so good.
This is so great. Well, I'm so touched, and thank you so much for saying those things. This is like, you can't imagine how much that it means to me, you know? So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and thank you for being a genius because it was so good.
Oh, you're the best. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm fine for like the next year. Thank you.
Well, congratulations. And I'm like crossing my fingers that it's in every movie theater known to man. And then hopefully I will see it at the festival, and I'll see hopefully everybody. And but I'm just could not be happier for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You were so sweet. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
Okay, you too. Have a good one.
Thank you, Monica.